Welcome back to Pisces TV with Dr. MB. Let's get started with your reading.
All right, love bugs, here is your pick a card. We have the beautiful Gold Fall Tarot. We have the beautiful Golden Dawn Magical Tarot and your Purposeful Career Oracle cards. Choose your card and we'll get started with group 1, 2, and 3. These are important messages for questions you may have. Okay. Group 1, you have the beautiful Nine of Wands. I just think all of these cards are beautiful, by the way. The Nine of Wands. That's taking the steps. That is persevering. Nine of Wand energy. For some, I could easily say you may have been through a lot. For others of you, I could say your weakness may be stubbornness. There could be a lack of energy and or just the opposite, where there's strength, courage, resilience, and endurance. Never giving up and never surrender. You have the Siren, the Shaman, and the Apocalypse. Enough is enough is what I get from you, group 1. Because the Siren usually brings us down deep to distract us from something and or is like the catalyst for a necessary situation. The Shaman here with the red serpent and the 3 fates, the skulls there, give me those of you that could be a little bit down in energy. Because you think like a red serpent, I think we're in the year of the dragon, I think. So like the red serpent, the dragons, you think that's like vitality. For some of us, it may be great, but I'm seeing with these 3 skulls, it gives me like the 3 fates. Then we got the 3 cards. I just feel that because of something I learned a long time ago about the spiritual meaning behind the red serpents, and sometimes they can come to you in meditation, videos, or this reading. It may talk about a depletion of energy or negative energy being around you. So keep that in mind. And for some of you, the negative energy could be the Siren energy that kind of distracts us, where the Apocalypse more so talks about endings, you would think, right? How many Tupac fans we got out here? Let's go to the guidebook. It says removing the veil of deception. See, so there could be some deception that is just taking your energy. Yep. It says the regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth. The unknown becomes known and guides the way. It also could point out to those of us that could feel hopeless in a sense. Okay? Understandable. Apocalypse indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when 2 desperate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposing directions. The first is the lifting of the veil. This means truth that have been kept in the dark or revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how relieving it is to witness them coming to light, an element of despair and grief follows. Okay, so your resilience, your endurance, your strength, and your courage may be necessary. Stand your ground, knowing what you believe in. For some of you, protecting your family or this situation, if nothing more, I do see showed you how strong you were. You found out how strong you could be. Now, if there's some suspiciousness of others with the Siren here, I would just make sure that it's your own judgment and not something that someone else said or did, that is something you witnessed, right? Because this talks about witnessing it, so that's interesting. Let it be something that you may have witnessed, and for some of you, you could have very well witnessed it. And may have to stand your ground on it, child. There's that. Now you have the shaman as well, which talks about the sorcerer or the medicine woman. 3 archetypal ingredients constitute the shaman, and all must be present in order to reveal its magic. First, the shaman is activated by long-standing and diligent study. The mentor, second, is orientation, is generously and accurately aimed toward the healing of self and other, as well as the culture, which is the healer. And the third shaman has a knack for finding doorways to the other world. And see, the doorway to the other world, you have the above, and her direction is below. It also talks about power and shadow and studying your darkness. This card reminds us that the force of healing is ultimately not our own. We must shape it and share it with the world. So a fearless student and practitioner, but when in shadow, overpromises, blames, hurts self and others. So there's just an aspect that could be involved in the situation. You have the siren, which is the seducer. The serpent can sometimes be the seducer as well. And the shaman could be in a situation, because I know in certain cultures, the serpent was the trickster. The siren calls and the world spins. What we thought we wanted pales in comparison to the sweet allure of her song. We find ourselves lost in a spell of desire and longing, perhaps even lust. Whether the thing calling to us is ultimately good or bad, it's somewhat irrelevant. It's the journey that matters. And the work of the siren is to take us on a deep psychic descent. And see, this is when some things are kind of mixed up in the psyche. The outcome and or advice is taking us on a journey that could help heal and or transmute things that may no longer be favorable for us in this lifetime. Because it talks about a place where lessons are learned and courage must be rallied to find our way back to dry land. Try as we might, resisting the call may not even be an option. That is very interesting. I saw a movie the other day, Group 1, where this lady was a driver for, a driving company. And she picked up a guy who insisted on sitting in the front seat. He was about her age. They were both young. And he started stalking her. But what she found out was before he got in that car and booked her that day, he had already been in her apartment. He had already altered her dog's chip to have GPS on them. Long story short, he took her through hell and back. The police were involved. Her life was at stake. She almost died twice. Her mom was like, "You're doing it again because you lied back in the day." Right? But she didn't. Oh my God. Okay. Group 1, we may need to find our strengths. And there's a situation that may be designed to do that. Because here's the thing. She had a bad record for breaking a promise or being a liar. But actually, she told on an adult, I think, who did something inappropriate to her, like a teacher when she was in high school. But then she took it back. And so people looked at her as a liar, but it did actually happen. But she took it back. Like she wanted to avoid, chaos and confusion, conflicts, right? So he was picking on her because he always does that. He said that he found people and tested their strength. Most of them were weak, and he used to call them his students, right? So he took her through hell and back. She called the police. This man stalking me. He was killing people, and the police thought it was her. She had to turn herself in. A grocery store worker guy that was helping her ended up getting killed because he set him up. It was crazy, right? And so to not take you guys down a rabbit hole, at the end of the movie, She turned her dog in after she figured out it was some way he had to have been tracking her. So she took the dog to the pound, and sure enough, he picked it up. He called her, laughing, and said, I know by now you on the top of a bridge ready to jump off or about to slit your wrist. You weak, but you were stronger than the rest of them, so I commend you for that, but I will break you, that's what he said to her. So he was driving off thinking he won, and then boom, something hit his windshield. It was the leash. Her dog leash was all bedazzled. He got out of the car. She walked up to him and told him, I knew you were going to go pick that dog up. And she asked him why he did it. And ultimately he lost. But before he got eaten up by coyotes that she knew was going to get him, because she had got chased by coyotes running from him, so she knew where they were. He told her, now you know how strong you are. And I hope that my horrible recap of that movie gave you some sort of idea where there's a situation that none of us, not even me, would volunteer to go through. I'm not going to lie, because I watched the movie. I wouldn't volunteer to go through that shit. It was a nightmare. Not saying that you are going to experience a nightmare. For some of you, you may already have. You could say it's my life story. It could be a relationship, one situation, right? Persevere through it. You will be stronger. You're going to see that. It doesn't matter if they see it. I'm sure they will. But there's a situation that I don't want and Tarot doesn't want, right? Because now I'm embedded in this, right? Because I'm like, I don't want that for you either. I don't want you to be broken by a person, place, or thing. You can prove it to yourself how strong you really are. All right. Group 2. Let me sit it this way so you can see them all. Group 2. Ooh. This is sexy. And if you say why, I mean the ring, the womb. Okay. We start out with the 5 of Swords. It's not bad. It's a 5. And they're swords. Could talk about some frivolous things, conflicts, unhealthy competition, fears of not being good enough. It happens. It also talks about conflicts and arguments remaining unsolved. And it could be hard for us to move on from some of those. New ways of thinking about a situation could be needed. So whatever brought you into the reading, whatever reason you chose, group 2, keep that in mind. A new way of thinking about a situation could be needed. Whether it's winning at all costs, dealing with tension and betrayal, personal attacks, being lied to, bullied, and being in trouble without even doing nothing wrong. It could be some of those things. It could be none of those things. If there's a feeling of the inability to defend oneself, it could even be with life. I've had that happen, and I honestly had to pull myself back and say, you know what? You're tripping. Because I would be mad, thinking, speaking negatively at life like it's conscious and it's fucking with me. And I had to think about that. Because I'm not the only one who thinks like that. The universe did it, God did it, the devil did it, life did it. And the more intelligent I become, the closer I became to spirit, I realized that all entities or energies or things that we've learned that exist aren't always conscious or give a fuck about humans like that. Life does not have a heartbeat. A heartbeat is involved in the pulse of every day that we would call life, but life itself, can't nobody go pull the plug on life. You know what I mean? Life is a thing. Without me being overly analytical, you get it, right? So it helps me to not be frustrated or to feel like control was outside of my hands, because I doubted that life has a pulse and a micro glass fucking with me. So if I stop thinking like that, I feel a bit stronger, and I'm more in tune to being solution based instead of feeling victimized and angry or even hurt and confused. Because when you think life or God or spirit is like against you, or the universe, I mean, how could you really trust that anyone else is going to be for you, if parents or, whatever you truly believe in? I also know being split in mind, like having conflicting thoughts. Like, I'm getting a new job, I'm moving to a new place, but then on my way to that place, I'm like, what am I doing? This is crazy. This is too far. This is not what I'm used to. I don't know anyone here. Oh my God. Like, so conflicting thoughts. Some of you, it could be about marriage or a partnership. For the womb, this just talks about a birthing place, where it all started at. How did it all begin? How will it end? Just questions. Okay. Now, the ring, thankfully, because we get really philosophical in spirituality, but this ring card literally talks about, it could be a ring. It also talks about the Wheel of Fortune. So look at me being proactive, talking about life, consciousness, and who's like actually sitting there pushing buttons, making things the way that they are, right? But it says the wheel. For some of you, it's the connection, and others of you, it says the infinite. So that could be like the life source. I think we touched all bases here. The ring is an image of connectedness. Rather than viewing life as linear, as a series of progressive achievements, the ring challenges us to sense the cyclical, infinite nature of our world and experiences. Beginnings and endings. Ooh, I called it. Beginnings and endings fall by the wayside as we practice seeing ourselves as part of the cosmic circularity of creation. For this reason, it's no surprise a ring is worn on the finger that represents eternal love that surpasses space, time, and worldly things. So much can be projected into this archetypal image because it mimics the Earth's orbit around our great sun and the intimate bond between two lovers. It is the micro and macro united. This card calls us to deepen connection with self, other, and the world at large. Meanwhile, there may be a literal ring awaiting to adorn your finger. So it talks about connectedness, humility, and sacred cycles. But when unconscious, it talks about repetition, starving for a connection, and being pretty much unconscious. Okay. Unaware. Okay. All of that, right? Now, when we get to the wound, I just thought about a starting place. Of course, I thought about like a wound, right, on a woman. I did think that like initially, but like I said, I've been using these cards for a while. Been doing tarot for a while. Doesn't always mean that, but it could. The nest, the belly, the origin. So it's the origin for some. It's the belly for others of us, or whatever. Nourishment, harmony, warmth, and love. Okay. But when in shadow, infertility, imbalance, egotistical, and stricken. So everything has an origin story. The womb archetype asks us to contemplate the beginning beyond the beginning, the mother beyond the mother, in a world that often negates the power and necessity of feminine principles. This card represents us to the warmth, tenderness, and sacred intelligence from which we came. It is a card of receiving, not achieving, of accepting love from the mother of us all. She is the life-giving force that forgives and cherishes even the most wounded and desperate soul. Because I did this time when I said the wound, and I was like, oh, I thought about females, whatever. I did think about wound. Okay, and it literally just said it, so. The womb awaits your return to help you heal and grow. This card is a call to keep things simple, to return, to be reborn in the name of love. The womb is everywhere. It is beyond gender, beyond time. We are within it as it is within us. I like that. So keep things simple. This could represent wholeness, connectedness, a commitment. Keep it simple. When it comes to feeling defeated, when it comes to frivolous arguments and fights, when it comes to being in split minds about things, keep things simple. I dealt with procrastination, and I've helped at the community college with the paralegals. We had questions that we would ask in the forum. How do how would you work through procrastination? And so I told the young man, see, I'm getting old when I start calling people young man. I'm OG millennial, so chill. I told the young man, it's hard for some of us. I ain't gonna lie. It ain't no medicine. It ain't no advice I can give you, but I can tell you something that I tried that is a fact, whether we do it or not. Right? And it was just get up. I don't feel like it. Thinking about doing it is what's making me tired. I don't feel like it. I don't get out the bed. I literally can't. Sometimes it's like you can wake up in the middle of the night feeling refreshed, but it's too early, so you go back to sleep, and then going back to sleep and waking up, you feel more tired than you did in the middle of the night. Little stuff like that. But if you have to get something done, or if you've committed to something, it's just the intelligence, like I said, in the mind of knowing that it has to be done whether I want to or not. I just have to start. And then when I told him that, I realized how simple I made it sound. But unfortunately, that's just what it is. Now, we can get things that help us neurologically. I'm not a pharmacist or a medical doctor that prescribes, even though I know a lot about neurology. And some things that could cause imbalances and need to be adjusted through medication or diet or thought. Okay. But that's just that. That's just that for that. That could be just one person. It could be 5 y'all. I don't know. But being reborn, clean slate, keeping it simple, staying committed, whatever you're going through. Okay. Because some of y'all in two minds, I just got about a person or a relationship. And others of us, it don't have much to do with something outside of us. It's just everything. And I get that. So then we got the desert over here. The drought, the wasteland, the badlands. Oh no. It talks about something surreal, something strange, unexpected visions. Some of you guys may have that, or maybe you had that and you're trying to figure it all out. Okay. But when in shadow, it's isolating, disorienting. And that sounds like my introverts being introverted too long. No shade, because I love being introverted. But sometimes being isolated could do things to our psyche. So just keep that in mind. The desert leaves us disoriented, desperate for direction, grasping for meaning, longing for solid ground. For endless miles, we are confronted with a lack of clarity and existential dread. We are thirsty, hungry, pleading with life to get back to normal, to become animated by the simple pleasantries of day-to-day life. The desert offered no such comfort, and all must pass through it. If you can embrace the comfort of the desert, knowing you will someday reach water again, you can tap into the potent energy of the landscape. Its lights are blinding bright, and its darks terribly dark, which makes for unbridled creativity and clairvoyant visions. Truths reside in the desert that otherwise remain hidden. The crows, the shadows, and the coyotes call surround you. Let the winds and sounds work their deep magic, weary traveler. When in throes of the desert, contemplate the following. You are not alone. You have more supplies with you than you think. Water is very near. Ooh. And even though this looks like fire, the way I have it positioned on the table, this is the alchemical symbol for water. And it's like, please. And look, it's near because water is near, honey. For some of you, this is, I don't even want to make it sound like that, but that's so sweet. Water is near. Okay. That's what I got. Next up, group 3. Assets is what you guys that chose the Purposeful Career Oracle. Assets. Your investments are growing fast. If you haven't tried investing yet, this is the right time. Your future promises long-term stability. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. You have Eros. I know what that is. Desire. It's like fire love. The medallion. And the crown. One of my big homies who got the medallion. It's like, damn. Here's the medallion. And there's somebody reaching for it. Then the crow got the medallion. And it's like, is the crow the hand or is the hand the crow? That is interesting. Huh. Interesting. We got the mouth. Look at me. That's interesting because I love my crow, child. When my crows come out, they got a message for y'all. So I don't play by my crows, my ravens, eagles, birds. Y'all know that. I don't play about it. But we're going to start with Eros. Okay. Love is desire. Ooh, eroticism and sensuality. The root of desire itself. And that's crazy that I'm using root chakra healing music for this particular episode of our pick a card. So that's crazy. Let go of worries, anxiety, and fear is what we talk about with that root. But it says through Eros, though Eros can be depicted as unbridled sexuality and eroticism, a more contemplative understanding of this archetypal energy leads us to the root of desire itself. What do we long for? Why are we awakened by love? What makes us hesitate in the face of intimacy? Eros reconnects us with the primal longing to merge with another human being, nature, music, art, plants, food, or anything that we perceive we are separate from. Eros allows us to momentarily unite. And something gave me 4 of Pentacles with this asset. And when the 4 of Pentacles is in a conversation with longing and lacking, that's like stingy. You know how he holding them pentacles tight? You might not be stingy. There may be a situation that involves investments and saving. What are we holding back? What are we participating in? Are we afraid? Are we taking risk? Is it something we love? Or do we out there doing stuff? Okay? Because this points to something that you love. Like deep down in your soul. Because I love it. This didn't happen till I got older. But food is something that gets down into my soul now. Growing up, it was boys and music. Mostly music. Not really boys. But sort of. But now, food is involved. And I just be feeling comforted. So whatever your deal is, okay, our life force awakens. This card reveals an inevitable initiation into love's labyrinth. I like that. So you guys are going to be walking the labyrinth of love. I don't know what that is. Okay, I am silly. I need to log off. I saw you may find yourself swirling, and you know swirls are like interracial relationships. Oh my God. Okay. So you might find yourself swirling, in a new territory of desire and sensuality. Explore the labyrinth with a curious and honest heart. And remember, though the way is circuitous, you are always being led toward its center. So when in light, it talks about passion, playfulness, sexual health. But in shadow, could talk about protection, obsession, and madness. Now, thankfully, the crown, now if y'all had gotten a siren with that card, I would have said watch out, wrap up, block them. But the crown don't usually bother nobody like that. The crown is wise and protective, okay, and is connected to the divine, and it's like a messenger of some sort, because it's like they gonna bring you this coin. So that goes back to the investors that do what they love and emit the correct energy that's in alignment, right? You're going to get it. And while I'm talking about the crown, the medallion just pops up. But let's, okay, I'll do it that way. The medallion is a talisman. It's an heirloom. Ooh, the Four of Pentacles also points to an inheritance of some sort. And that's crazy that I brought that up, because it talks about tradition, protecting and honoring. But when in dark, it's habitual inheritance and a burdensome inheritance. So just be mindful of that. The medallion card appears. Beware of how the objects you hold dear may be embedded with unconscious energy or expectations. Materials hold consciousness, and it's time to reconcile the vibration of the objects around you. What do you convey and collect? Why? Is there an object you have held on for years that you are ready to release? Keepsakes, treasures, mementos, gifts, jewels, all kinds that hold emotional resonance and still others with both. Yet when these gifts are bestowed upon us, it is important to recognize that they may bind us to an unspoken agreement or promise. Okay, now that's fitting. And then here come the crone, right? In all seriousness, with the coin. And the raven and the crown say when they choose, they ain't unchoosing. I'm not taking this back. I picked you. You're destined this fate. That's cute. But I guess this ain't the story of the raven. So let's see what the story of the crown is. Ooh, for some of y'all, it's a witch. It says the old woman, the sage, or the witch. Okay, y'all into a little money magic. Okay, some of you guys may be clairvoyant, psychic, intuitive, wise, and magical. But when in shadow, vindictive, bitter, isolated, and ostracized. Okay, the crown has seen it all. Nothing frightens or surprises her. She is the final manifestation in the feminine trifecta of maiden mother crone. In her long life, she's witnessed endless cycles of death, sex, failure, rebirth, conflict, and regeneration, giving her the ability to rise above the world and duality. She laughs at notions of good or bad, right or wrong, as she has seen the earth churning, smoldering, taking life and giving life. The crown energy accepts everything in devouring beauty and suffering with the same mouth, using their energy to reveal hidden secrets and knowledge. Her energy resides in all of us, though it is feared by most for its power and unconventional relationship with death and the macabre. And not the Merkaba. This one said macabre. Whatever. Awakening the crone is dangerously rich and unapologetically magic. I'm into it. If Rihanna said be unapologetic, that album sold. Okay, so I'm down with it. Shout out to all of my Thelemites. And so here is the symbolism. Okay, all of you little magic warriors there. The crone is the master of letting go and residing in what is. She rejects nothing. The crone is often seen with the crow, smoke, night, and the moon. Alright. They ain't really come up, so I don't think it's a lot of shadowy energy here. The crone has a difficult time tolerating superficial, petty day-to-day musing. She moves away from the such relationship and seeks a deeper faith or path, even if this means a more solitary life. Oh, my mama. So, group 3, that is what we have. And I will give you some time because I know, I'm to meditate. I'm sponsoring Metatron, child. Y'all gonna meditate after the pick a card on the way to bed. When you wake up, we're gonna take deep breaths, calm ourselves, and have a moment. All right, because life might not give you moments like that. Take one.